All right, let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another weekend with Karthik. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you're all doing great. I had a pretty good and productive week. Pretty happy with everything I got ticked out of my to-do list. And yeah, also had a pretty good relaxing weekend to refresh the juices and get back to the week at the end of it. Took a good afternoon a nap today. Oops, and just gonna have some cold caramel macchiato um, to open up my mind a bit. And today I wanna talk about and do a bit of something I've been thinking of and wanting to do is how to become more active on like a Twitter. Um, cause Twitter is a platform that I think I use the most, right? Or like how do I say, like consume the most of all social media. I really enjoy the format of your Twitter, where it's just people expressing opinions. It's very, sort of a real time. It's very instantaneous. It's very much in the moment, what you're feeling, what you're thinking. There's not a lot of your thought and effort into making it look good, beautifying it. It feels more raw form of emotions and very raw form of engagements. And there are some tweets that are like there's a lot of sort of like gem and a wisdom that can be um, sort of imparted just within the constraints of a tweet, right? Like within the 240 or the like 480 sort of like letter limit that they have now. There are like so many tweets that I come across on a daily basis, which make me go like, whoa, this is so great, like so beautiful, like how such a wisdom is being imparted in just such a very easy to consume format. So I think that's something that I find very fascinating about Twitter. And it's not just wisdom, it's not just people giving so agyan, which is the Hindi word for like wisdom. So it's not just people philosophizing. It's not like LinkedIn, to be very straightforward about that. You know, on a LinkedIn, you see people like coming up with all sorts of weird stories about how this is a message I got from blah 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 blah. Right? That gets very annoying. It seems very fake and superficial. But on Twitter, it just feels more raw. But it's not just that. There are people who are making memes there. There's like a lot of funny content there. There's a lot of like a regional local content there as well. So I have mostly been a consumer of these content. I retweet, send tweets to my friends. That's mostly what I've been doing. I do often come across thoughts of what I could tweet, but that just never results into me immediately taking up my phone and like tweeting it. It's something like, hey, that's a good tweet, and then I forget about it afterwards, and then I just never put it out. So the amount of tweets I have done is much sort of like lesser in comparison to what I've retweeted and shared. So that's something I want to get better at. I want to get better at being putting out these short form content out, which in some ways are a reflection of what my thought at the moment is, what my opinion about something is. uh, and I also just like fun stuff, right? I think there is a lot of fun stuff that I come across on different platforms, and I just want to be able to share that in a nice way using Twitter. And I think that's also a platform where I do want to build a following. I think Twitter can be a really good platform for attracting like-minded people, like a lot more than any other social media offers you to. So I think that's also one of my hopes and wishes is that I can build on Twitter a good following of like-minded people who can um, uh, sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Who can sort of interact with my teams, like who can sort of be a part of the conversation that I want to make, engage with the point of views that I want to make, because I there are like a bunch of stuff that I want to hear conflicting opinions on. So those are the kind of people I want to spar with a bit more intellectually, and I think that's what to me is fascinating about Twitter. So what I'm gonna do in today's stream is I'm gonna take you through my so some of the Twitter stuff that I like, just so that you get a idea of what is it that I like about Twitter, or more specifically, what kind of your content I like and I enjoy, and then we'll try to phrase with the help of that what sort of content I can push, and I want to make some sort of a schedule of what I should be pushing. So I want to keep a trigger for myself that will push me to put more stuff on Twitter, but I also want to be able to start scheduling stuff on Twitter, that because there are sometimes within an hour I've thought of like out of 5 tweets that I want to do, but I'm like, but I cannot do back to back 5 tweets because what will people think? So I just want to be able to schedule those tweets in the moments where I have these like sort of brain farts about different ideas. So I want to be able to keep them, store them, and sometimes there are also like really cool ideas that I want to steal from different your platform, and put it on there. Stealing, like not in sense of just taking credit for it, but more in the sense of something I find like a meme or a cartoon or some illustration. I want to be able to either like make sure that a lot of people can see it and amplify it, but at the same time, if I have a commentary on that to add my opinion on top of that, that's something that I really want to do as well. So without much further ado, let me quickly show you Twitter. This is my Twitter. Let me go to my profile to begin with. All right. So I also want at some point, like a clean up who I follow, because right now I'm following 1,408 people. But yeah, just random people who I followed at some point, which are no longer putting interesting stuff. So at some point, I will also sit down and clean up, but I don't know how you sit down and clean up 1,408 people. So I might also just do a clean swipe, just like unfollow everyone and start from a clean slate. I have 15 followers, but not a lot of interactions. So there are a bunch of people who do follow me, surprisingly, even though I don't put out much content. So thank you if you are one of my followers. Appreciate the support. So yeah, but yeah, I've not put out much. How can I see how much I've tweeted and stuff? Is there some sort of analytics that I can check out? So yeah, so for example, yesterday I put this out, something I saw on a street, which is like a fun thing. Put it out. Not much engagement at all actually. So 49 people saw it, 4 people engaged with it, 4 people expanded it. Because I know that there are also like services for there are people who outsource their Twitter accounts to other people to tweet on their behalf and stuff, right? So there are people who do that. I know there are courses that are like there are paid courses that teach you how to become more active on Twitter and how to make a following. And you can also almost always identify those tweets. You're saying, okay, this is definitely not a very organic tweet. This is something that somebody has done just to get a follow or a like. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to intentionally make controversial statement, because that's like the easiest way to, I think, get followers. You say something that's super controversial, that's like against what the status quo thinks. If you say something very outrageous, you will get engagements, right? That's the norm. Like you say something that's so out there, that people will react to it. So that's not my goal. I don't want to get that kind of engagement, because I feel it's very like it's a dishonest way of getting people, because that's not who you are. That's not like who you think, and you're putting opinions out there just for the sake of getting stuff. But the kind of stuff I want to amplify is like stuff like this, right? So like a Ken Kosienda, he is one of the your designers who worked at Apple for a long time, and he worked on stuff like the iPhone, the iPad, and a lot of early Apple stuff. So he puts out a lot of amazing tidbits and information about your not just your design, but also like a whole bunch of stuff about Apple, right? So for example, something that he was putting out was how they designed the touchpad of the touchpad on the phones, where they found that the actual point where the contact with the glass happens, and what a person thinks with the contact with the glass happening, there is a difference between the two. So that is something that they had to account for. So it's a very fascinating experiment that you can do actually. So on your phone, you're always touching a bit lower than what you think you're touching, right? So for example, if you turn your phone upside down and you try to touch something, you'll not be able to touch it until it's very much beneath it, right? So that's like a very fascinating experiment, I thought, that he was, and that's like a very interesting tidbit that he gave, is that the touch point is always a bit sort of like lower than what humans perceive it to be. I know it's like a nerdy, like tiny design detail, but that's the kind of stuff that fascinates me. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool that somebody actually did the research and put the thought into it. And I think stuff like this is what fascinates me, and stuff like this is what I would like to amplify. As of now, I'm doing a very bad job at it, where I'm like, fascinating. Like today I learned, right, which is sort of very non-engaging way uh, of amplifying it. But yeah, if I could just add more stuff to it, maybe show people, and like actually you're sort of doing this, just make like a small video where, hey, I did this experiment and I found that this is how it works. I think those kinds of things would be for me like so much better. That's the kind of content that I would sort of like love to put out. There's also like a lot of amplification of InVision as well that happens, because of course it's my company. Every social post about it, I love to amplify. So there's going to be a bunch of that as well. Oh yeah, for example, something like this. This was for me very fascinating. So basically, on a Safari, when you open the IKEA website, and if you open the same your furniture but two different variations of it, the title bar at the top automatically switches from the name of the stuff to the dimensions of the stuff, so that you can actually know which is the tab opening which sort of the variation of the furniture. And I found this very very fascinating, because I'm like, yo, this is such a small sort of detail of your design that somebody thought of and said, you know what, let's implement it. And it's like such, yeah, like it is a trivial thing, but it gives so much of like a delight to a user when they actually encounter it, that somebody actually has put the thought into accounting for this use case, right? So stuff like this I love, and stuff like this is what I think I would like allow to push and amplify as well. So I think a post like this is sort of what ideally I would like to do, right? If I come across something like this on a website I've been to, or something in the wild, I've come across a good example of somebody putting a thought into a product, a design that is a joyful experience for a user in the end. I would I like to be able to capture those, and I like to be able to put those out in a tweet, right? Because look at his engagements are amazing, right? Let's see if, yeah, see his your followers are not so much more than just sort of like mine. Um, stays in Netherlands as me, but the engagement on that post is pretty cool, right? And I think that's the kind of stuff I want to do, and hopefully over time, I'm able to craft my tweets in a way where everything I post is actually fascinating and interesting and adds a bit of a value to everyone who is engaging with it. Yeah, this was okay. This is a nice poem I came across. Yeah, I was like tweeting a lot during DC because every time there's some announcement, I was just expressing my opinion on it. Of course, no engagement. So I know that there are 400 followers, but not engaging enough, which is my fault because I'm not putting engaging enough of a content. So that's how I look at it. So not blaming anyone out there. Just I should be putting out more engaging content. Surprisingly, when I am making a cribbing post about something, for example, I had a very bad experience with the Revolut app, and I put out this sort of like rant to the team. People engage with it a lot. I got 7 likes. Let's brutality. I got 4,613 impressions, 37 engagements, 17 deal expands, profile visits. So yeah, it was a lot of engagement, right? So that's something that I find very fascinating. That a cribbing post works well, but also what works well, I think, is when you sort of tag somebody who has a lot more your followers than you, and if they engage with you, that brings in more thing. Let's see who likes it. Yeah, all random people, none of whom follow me. Wait, was one of them following me? No, no one's following me. So yeah, uh, small stuff like this is what I would like to push. Da-da-da. Yeah, so I think you get an idea. I think there's not much in my uh, profile to amplify a lot. By the way, there's a really cool video about Envision glasses on the CNET website. So please go and interact with that if you would like, because that's my goal ultimately. Right? If I'm able to build enough of a following, I can actually like push cool updates to them as well about the products I use and love, and one of which use just happens to be Envision glasses. Naval, I think, is a good segue to this. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Naval Ravikant. I think Naval is. I think if you're on Twitter, you probably know Naval. He's of course huge, 1.8 million followers. He's a founder of Angel a List, and he's a prominent angel investor. But I think he also is a great, sort of like thinker, philosopher. He has a lot of ideas about technology, the future, and stuff like that. So he's a very well respected person within the tech world and the tech industry. And he posts a lot of very very interesting tidbits, which are like very short. I think he actually has something that I admire about him a lot, that he has the ability to crystallize his thoughts into sort of out of words very well, which I think is like one of the best skills anybody could have, is to be able to crystallize your thoughts into words the right way. Most people do not know how to do that. I do not know how to do that. I'm still you're like learning, but there are a rare sort of moments where where I am able to do that, which surprises even me. I think those of moments are for me like very very satisfying, seeing that whoa, I was able to put exactly into the words what I was thinking, especially when it's a complicated thought, right? Especially when it's not a black and white, it's a very like it's a gray complicated thought. There are a lot of aspects to it, and then if I find the right set of your words to express it, that gives me a lot of joy. And I think so like Naval does a great job of that. So one of his tweet threads, how to get rich without getting lucky, is probably the most talked about Twitter thread, at least I have ever known, right? So this is a thread of about, I think, 30 to 40 tweets, where Naval breaks down in very simple English, in very simple terms, how to get rich without getting lucky, right? When you when you read this, when I read this, I'm like, "Pfft, another guide giving on how to rich and how to get rich ideas, right? There are a bunch of scamsters. That's sort of the telltale sign of a scam artist or a Ponzi scheme is when they title it, how to get rich. Read this book, how to get rich. Like take listen to this, like podcast, or you sort of like take this course on how to get rich. They're like immediate red flags, right? But Naval, when you sort of read this, of course you don't get like a clear way of knowing how to get rich. It doesn't say, "Hey, invest in this stock, you'll get rich," or "Invest in a crypto, you get rich." It sort of breaks down the idea itself of what it means to be rich, where he says it's about a wealth. That sort of is the goal of what you're looking for. So I might do actually a whole different uh, actually, that's a very great idea. I can actually do a whole weekends with Karthik episode on just going through each of these tweets step by step and breaking them down. But they are very like nice, sort of gems in there. So if you are somebody who has never read this thread, go right now to Naval's Twitter. It's at a Naval, and this is a pinned tweet, and check it out because I think it's really really enlightening your tweet, if nothing else. One of the stuff he says is that pick an industry where you can play like long term games with long term people, right? Which is like a very it's sort of is a very easy to understand as a statement. You're like, okay, I know what you're saying, but then it also has like deeper a meaning in terms of what it could mean for me as a way of knowing how I can pick the right industry for me, right? Yeah, don't partner with your cynics and your pessimists. It has a lot of uh, thing that is funny. Give me a lever a long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. The most accountable people have singular public and risky brands. Capital means money. To raise money, apply your specific knowledge with accountability and show resulting good judgment. So yeah, I think I can go on about Naval and rant about it, but yeah, he has like really good tidbits on stuff to measure the quality of your life. Simply do nothing and see how it feels. This is a fascinating tweet. Like to be honest, even though this is not by him, there's some like a fan account which is tweeting it, but it makes so much sense, right? To measure the quality of life, simply do nothing and see how it feels. So I think stuff like this also I might attempt to do, like crystallize my thoughts. I do feel a bit weird doing it because I feel like I have not experienced enough things to be able to be a philosophical in this way. Uh, so even if I have thoughts like this, to me it always feels like, but I'm 30 years old. There's like a lot I have not experienced. So it might come across as very naive or juvenile if I say it. But there are similar thoughts, like if I'm able to ever crystallize something complex, like because here he's basically talking about how to measure the quality of life, right? Which can be such a difficult question to answer, but he's able to crystallize it in very very simple things. If you do nothing, if you feel good, that's a good sort of a measure of the quality of life you have. So I think such things I would definitely, if I can achieve anything close to this, it's great. But I think stuff like this is something that I would really want to take a stab at, where I really want to see if I'm able to crystallize complex thoughts and such simple tweets. That would be my goal. Don't outsource your happiness or success to other people's decision. Fascinating.
Let's define stress for a moment. Physically, stress is when something wants to be in two places.
I'm going to scroll through a lot of things because I don't want to get copyright struck. Mhm. Okay. Moving on. So this is one nice thing. Let me just go through my home and let's see if we can pick up a few more. So I do intentionally also follow some very right wing folks. So this is one of the dudes I follow who is like super like so of like right wing. Won't suggest to follow people like this if you are somebody who gets triggered very easily because he says some very so obnoxious things. But I do intentionally follow a lot like a bunch of people who are very different from the point of view that I have, just so that I can always be assured that I'm not ever in a bubble. So I always want to see what is the people who have a very different opinion than mine. What are they saying about the topics that are currently happening in the media? So for me, that's always a good like a reality check, just to make sure that I'm not in a bubble of my own where I'm thinking what I'm thinking is right, but maybe it's wrong. Hmm. Oh, this is fascinating. Yeah, not that many interesting things. Okay, not able to find too many interesting things now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna schedule some tweets. Let's see. I'm gonna go through some stuff on my phone. So whenever I find something fascinating, the least I do is take a screenshot of it. So I'm going to schedule a few things with you. Oh yeah, this was a fascinating thing I saw, which I wanna tweet about. So we make a tweet there. Yeah, don't worry, I'll show you what I'm reading and going through. Mhm. This could be nice. This could be nice. This could be nice. This I think I've already tweeted. This could be nice. Yeah. So like last week's episode where I did the whole like rant about Rijksmuseum, I'm not sure if that's wise to do, so I might hold off on that. This could be nice. This could be nice. Yeah, so a whole bunch of nice stuff which are no longer relevant, which is annoying. I could have tweeted them long back, but I did not. This could be nice. Risky. This could be a risky tweet, but I'm gonna do risky tweets. Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of Instagram stuff I've been wanting to push. I've not pushed. I should do that as well. I just need somebody to handle my social media account. I think is what I'm thinking. Because there's a whole bunch of really interesting content now that I'm going through my camera reel, which takes a little bit of work to actually polish it and push it out. But yeah, a lot of good like reels I can make with all the content I have around New York, for example. The mm, just the content from the Museum of the Modern Art is fascinating. But yeah, never had the time. Cool. Let's just work with a few tweets for now that I have. Cool. Let me show you what I'm thinking of. Okay, there's a whole bunch of images which are in HIEC format. Okay, this is not helping. This is not I wanted. Tweet. How do I see my drafts? Schedule. Da, da, da. Oh, very fun, interesting. I was trying to find a schedule tweet thing on my computer or on my phone. I couldn't find it. Where do I find my draft tweets? Because I put some tweets in my draft actually, which I can't find anymore. Okay, anyways, let's move this here. Oh, it's already. I think this is stuff from last time. Let me just call this tweet worthy. Let's see. Some are just nice images. Actually, cool. I wanna put out a tweet about this thing. Let me see. So I was going down this rabbit hole of tweets about. Let me clean up. No. So yeah, maybe start with this weird rabbit thing I was talking about. So I found this picture first, where it basically says that it's an image of a duck, but flip it, it's also a rabbit, right? And I'm like, hey, I think I've seen this in a different format before. Then I just looked for it and I found this picture, which is a rabbit but with ears going backwards, but it's also a duck. And when I was going down that rabbit hole, I found that there's actually a lot of images of rabbits that look like ducks. So I found this picture, which I find really fascinating. It's yeah, it's a rabbit, but then reflection of it is a duck. Weird. And then there's this picture, which is a duck, but also a rabbit looking the other way. So I found this weird that there's like a whole rabbit hole of these things, and I thought there's a joke to be made here also about rabbit hole, duck hole. So I wanna try if I can make a nice tweet about it. So let's see. Today I fell into a weird duck hole of rabbit or duck. Subgenre, and now I can no longer tell them apart. So I think it's funny. I'm not sure if it's funny. I'm saying today I fell into a weird duck hole of rabbit or duck subgenre. And I can no longer tell them. Today I discovered and fell. Today I discovered and fell into a weird duck hole. I hope people get the joke. Today I discovered and fell into, not fall into, no longer. Okay. Always important to add alt text to images. Never forget that. A black and white sketch of a rabbit that also looks like a duck. That's the best way I can describe it. It's very hard to write alt text for images like this. Illustration where the x-axis says duck and sometimes it's weird to explain the joke like this, but yeah, it's super important to write alt text so that people with a vision impairment can actually know what these images are that you're talking about. I love Grammarly, by the way. X-axis is duck and y-axis is rabbit with an image in the center that looks like a duck but can also be a rabbit when flipped vertically. Image, a painting of a rabbit floating on water on its back, but its reflection looks like a duck. Image of a rabbit or a duck. It's not an image, it's still a painting, no? It's an image that could either be a rabbit or a duck sitting on a grass, depending on how you look at it. Save. So let's just schedule these like sometimes apart. I don't really know what's a good time to schedule these or stuff like that, but I'm just gonna randomly schedule them and we'll see. Schedule. Cool. One tweet scheduled. Now let's go back to my thing. Oh, this is fun. So when I went to Amsterdam, there is this coffee shop called the Bulldog, which actually was a coffee shop that they made in an old police station, and they had there this thing called the orange raid alarm. So whenever the police used to come in, they used to drop an orange from the top floor to the bottom floor, which was an indication of the fact that the cops are coming. So this is that image. So they have sort of preserved this thing in the shop. So I thought it's nice to tweet about this. So I'm gonna tweet about it. Let's see. A framed waiter shaft with orange falling from it oranges falling from it with a plaque. It's called a plaque, no? Plaque. What is it called? Plaque. Not plaque. What the fuck is plaque now? Plaque. Yeah, plaque. Okay. With a plaque that says, where is it? All caps. Hmm. It's a coffee shop. What's going on? They which I that they used to tiny elevator shaft through which they used to drop oranges as a sign of as a warning of a police raid. Tiny is a better adjective, dude. Why did we say small? In this coffee shop and they preserve this tiny elevator shaft through which they used to drop oranges as a warning of a police raid. To warn. As a raid warning. Cool. So schedule. This can go out on 4th of July at, I don't know, what is a good time to tweet these things? 17:59. Schedule. Cool. Interesting tidbits. So this was a fun one. This is not my tweet. So I saw somebody tweeting about this. Actually, I think the person who tweeted has actually put his name on this. But it's basically a remote job cover. But I think it's very, very like an Indian thing. I don't think people from outside India know about this. So I'm gonna find a different image of this. Let me see if I can find it. Remote cover India. There you go. This is the exact same image that he has used actually. Uh, so he also just took someone's image and just put his mark over it. Uh, so I'm gonna save this image. Save. Gonna open this image. I'm gonna remove this part of it. Hmm. Convert. Close. Then I might have to open it again. But then now I'm going to convert this back into a JPEG. Boom. So that's how you remove stuff, kids, from an image. Let me crop it a bit so that it looks nice, and the remote is in the center. This looks fine. No, how does cropping work? Do this, and you do this. You do this. Cool. Twitter. This could also be a good Instagram post actually. Mm. Let me see what the dude who actually tweeted it said about it. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little shameless. I might steal this dude's idea. Maddie says. Oh, it's Maddie says 3. Maddie says 3. Oh, yeah. Only legends remember this. Damn, look at the fucking interaction on there. If you know what this is, I wanna see how I can make it super engaging. So I'm thinking like wrong answers only, or like what is this? Wrong answers only. you know what this is, your desi AF. See, this is hard, right? You think it's effortless, but yeah, it's a lot of thought that goes into stupid tweets. If you know what this is, you are. What did that make? Yeah. Legends remember this. I'm just gonna keep it simple. Um, oh shit, how do I add a description for it? See, this is a new problem. Because I don't want to explain what this is here, but I have to explain it somehow. A plastic looking case with elastic bands. Boom. Okay, what else do we tweet? This is a nice one. But yeah. I'm just gonna make a stupid simple tweet. Mentally, I am here. do this for the weekend. When is the next weekend? Oh, 2nd of July. I need to translate this. Jeevan, not Jeevan. Zindagi. How do I get it to say Zindagi? Zindagi. Life. I want other words for life. Zindagi. I'm gonna say Zindagi. Chai. Schedule. Cool. I think that's enough tweet schedule for now. Gone through most of it. There's this Suran Rotterdam one, I think. There's this one which is more edgy. This one I can actually push it now because I've already pushed it on Rotterdam. Scenic picture of Rotterdam. Row houses by the canal with a church visible in the background. Taken on sunset. Tweet. Cool. Alright, so let's go back. I think that's good progress. I have now a whole bunch of tweets scheduled. So happy, proud of myself. What the hell happened there? So yeah, I think let's see if my engagement gets better. I actually wanted to see if my engagement is better. Because before that, I wanted to see my analytics. Just quickly look at that so we can actually compare how much better am I doing. So 28-day summary, 18 tweets, 7,000 tweet impressions, 760 profile visits, 415 followers. So So we are aiming for impressions and engagement basically. So we will see if I can get more than 7,000 going forward, right? Well, actually, this is a better thing to look at. June, 7,000 tweet impressions, 18 tweets, 7% profile visits, 25 mentions, 2 new followers. So this is what we have to beat, right? So I'm doing already better in June than I did in May. So we're gonna keep doing better each month. Okay. So I think the big impression came from this rant about Revolut. So we need to do better than that, which we will. So yeah, uh, that's what we need to beat, and we now have analytics and metrics, and we have set things in motion. I will keep putting more things in schedule as we grow. But yeah, I think for now I'm pretty happy that we got the ball rolling. So thanks everyone who joined today for spending some more time with me. Appreciate if you stuck around. I'm keeping the streak of doing this weekly live streams going. So yeah, I hope you have a good week ahead, and I'll see you